Puts him down, ready to go. Handoff. No, he rolls out naked himself. He's in for the touchdown! Oh, he held that ball up as if to say, it wasn't in last year, but it's in this year. Okay, here we go. Vlasic will hold it. 29-yard field goal try. Spot is down. The kick is up. It's high enough, far enough. The Hawks win it! Iowa has beaten Michigan! Oh, brother, what a game! What do you think of that, Mike?
Oh, boy, what a football game we saw here today.
Here's Long giving on the deep handoff from the end around to Bayless. He dives in for the touchdown. Bayless is in, and you can pass in the songbooks on this one. The Hawkeyes are on their way to Pasadena.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hawks Take Aim. The 1985 Iowa campaign was a record-setting season. Dozens of team and individual marks were achieved to go along with a school-first 10-win season, the Big Ten Championship, and a trip to the Rose Bowl. But gone from that squad are Chuck Long, Ronnie Harmon, and Mike Haight, all three first-round NFL draft choices. Larry Station, Devon Mitchell, and Hap Peterson, a trio of standouts in the defense, have also departed the Hawkeye program, along with sticky-fingered receivers Billy Happel and Scott Helverson. In all, 11 starters and 19 lettermen are gone from the '85 Iowa team. A monumental rebuilding task appears to be in order for Hayden Fry's Hawkeyes this fall, or is it? With 5 straight 8+ win seasons, Hayden Fry has developed his Iowa program into a quality and talent-laden organization. So instead of rebuilding his arsenal, Hayden Fry is merely reloading.
We've done a good job recruiting. We've got a lot of bodies replaced. We're worried. We're uptight because when the bullets start flying, we don't know how these young guys are going to react. But we feel like, and I say this in all honesty, we feel like we're going to have a good ball club.
In the next half hour, we'll meet some of the Iowa veterans that are back, those who are being counted on to lead the Hawks, plus take a look at the newcomers with a chance of making a contribution. We'll also hear from the head Hawk and get predictions for the upcoming season from those who know Iowa football best. When we return, a look at Mark Vlasic, who's finally getting his shot after 4 long years. Not Not many will argue that the quarterback is the most important position on a football team. With that, we start our look at the '86 Hawkeyes at that spot. where tomorrow Iowa will have an old, new face at quarterback and fifth-year senior Mark Vlasic.
Oh, I'm just a happy-go-lucky type of guy, I guess. You know, just take things as they come. You know, just as with the football season, I had to wait 4 years, and you know, I patiently waited. I don't have any regrets about it, and I'm just kind of looking forward to getting things going now.
After 4 years of playing behind one of the finest quarterbacks in Iowa history, Mark Vlasic is eager to handle the Hawks' signal-calling duties. But the big question is, can this good-looking fifth-year senior get the job done? He started only once in his career at Iowa and has thrown a mere 56 passes in 4 seasons.
You know, I'm hoping to use everything in the past 4 years, you know, what little game experience that I've had, and then everything I've learned from what Chuck Long did on the football field, and just hope to condense all of that learning into a winning game. You know, I've always felt that if given the opportunity, I could come out and, you know, get the job done, and I'm just looking forward to have that chance this Saturday now to try to go out and do that.
There's no question that the Monaca, Pennsylvania athlete has the tools to perform well. In the spring game, Vlasic threw the pigskin much like his predecessor, completing 18 of 26 passes, good for 308 yards.
He has all of the credentials, criteria, personality, knowledge, ability to be above average in his first game. But how he performs is going to be judged so much on the 2 new wide receivers, the 2 new offensive linemen, if the running back really comes through, those type of things. So
I would say definitely that Mark's arm is a lot stronger than what Chuck was. But Chuck was accurate, and I think that comes from experience.
You have all the confidence in Mark Vlasic as a quarterback.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I like him as a person, and I'm leaving football out of it. And that plays a major part when you're on the field going into battle with your opponents. You've got to like the guy at least a little bit.
The spotlight, the pressure, it'll all be on Mark Vlasic tomorrow, but the big guy calmly says it's about time.
I don't mind it. I mean, I'm going to enjoy it while I can. You know, how many times do you get does anybody get this opportunity? I'm just going to enjoy it while I have it.
While Mark is the heir apparent to Chuck Long, Chuck's old number 16 still lives on in the black and gold. The Iowa uniform with the number 16 has been passed on not to a quarterback, but to a walk-on wide receiver. Sophomore Devin Harberts from Walnut, Iowa, now wears 16 on his back.
Well, I don't know. I get a hard time about it, but I don't mind it so much.
You take a lot of ribbon?
Oh, yeah, but I don't know. I think anybody would that's going to, has to wear a jersey that everybody, that a famous person had to wear at one time, so.
What did you think when you found out you were going to wear 16?
I don't know. I was kind of shocked, but, I just take it like I'd get any other number here and wear it with pride. And
how about wearing number 16? What do your friends say back home?
Well, when I went back home, one of my friends looking through the press guide, and he saw that I was wearing 16. He asked how I got it, and I just told him they gave it to me, so now they all call me Chuck back home.
Folks in the Iowa camp say Harberts resembles former Iowa wide receiver Scott Helverson with his sure hands. Harberts had 6 catches, good for 58 yards in the Iowa spring game, but that's when he wore number 87. A year ago, there were many heroes for the Hawks, but one of the most amazing success stories of '85 had to be the emergence of kicker Rob Houtland. The 1985 season for Rob Houtland had the kind of stuff dreams are made of. It was the Glenview, Illinois native's right leg that twice won games for the Hawks in the closing seconds. On October 19th against Michigan in the battle of the nation's top 2 teams, the Sidewinder accounted for all 12 of the Hawks' points, including the final 3 as time expired, giving Iowa a dramatic 12-10 triumph. Then 4 weeks later against Purdue, a Houtland field goal would again be the difference.
Well, Houtland has done it before, and here he is again. Vlasic will hold it. Snap back in good shape. It's down, it's up, it is good! Houtland puts it through, a 25-yard field goal. And with 1:08 left now, the Hawkeyes are on top by a score of 27-24.
It was a thrill. It really was. It was a good time, and it was a thing I'll remember always. And I hope I can improve on it this year.
In all, Houtland tied or set 7 new Iowa records. Most noteworthy were new season marks for field goals with 19 and points scored with 105. Impressive credentials, yet the junior kicker says he can do better.
I have to. I missed 3 extra points. I missed 8 field goals. I quit punting after the Michigan State game, and there's a lot of room for improvement. There's never a place where you can't improve, I don't think.
Howland has come a long way since walking on at Iowa in the spring of 1985. Not only will he handle all the kickoffs, extra points, and field goals this fall, he'll also be competing with Gary Castrobala for the punting chores.
I hope to. That's up to the coaches who's going to punt the ball. Gary's a great punter and got a great leg, and it'll be tough to compete with him. I hope to be doing the pooch punting, and hopefully things will work out.
Coming up, we'll go on the defensive and take a look at senior tackle Jeff Drost, who's aged just fine, thank you. When you talk defense for the Hawks in '86, you've got to start in the trenches, where Iowa is led by one of its captains, senior Jeff Drost, all 6'5", 286 pounds of him.
He probably has more equipment, more tools to be a dominating defensive college football player than any lineman we've had here. He's extremely big, he's very mobile, very quick. For a great big guy, he takes little bitty steps. And he's a big barrel-chested guy, got a lot of great upper strength, which you have to throw linemen around and rush.
Senior captain and defensive tackle Jeff Drost returns for what should be his finest year at Iowa. Numerous preseason publications have selected the 6'5", 286-pound lineman to their All-America teams.
I hope I can live up to some of the expectations of the media, but and I set some goals myself. But actually, my biggest goal is I wanted the team really to do well, and I know that'll take each 22 individual efforts. But that's why I really want a good team effort this year.
Like a fine wine, Drost just gets better with age. Since his part-time starter role as a freshman, the Indianola native has emerged the last 2 years as the Hawkeyes' most dominant defensive lineman. And this season, with a young secondary, Drost will be counted on to hold the defense together.
Well, I don't know if that I'm going to be the glue, so to speak, but I hope that I can sort of show some kind of leadership to the rest of the defense, and I hope I do well enough and be a big playmaker that they can look at me.
He just has that extra heartbeat. He's so much like Mark Bortz and Pat Dean as far as being a great competitor. Never seen him loaf on a single play, never seen him hurt, never missed a practice. He's just one of those unusual guys that don't come along too often.
Jeff Draw stepped right in and played as a freshman. This year, Hayden has several youngsters who will test the waters in their first year at Iowa. And one of the biggest names is quarterback Dan McGuire of Claremont, California.
The Big Ten's throwing the ball right now. Pac-10's not throwing the ball that much, and Iowa's the place to be. The coaches, the people, the fans, they're all plus.
And that's why this California phenom found his way to Iowa City and Hayden's Hawkeyes, where he hasn't been disappointed. Through the 4 weeks of the preseason camp, Dan McGuire has been nothing short of spectacular, according to his coach.
Where McGuire excels is the fact that the good Lord just blessed him with a lot of ability, starting out with a physical physique of 6'8", 235, and he's very intelligent. He picks up things very quickly. He loves to play. He loves to throw the ball, and those are the ingredients he has going for him at this point as compared to, say, 95% of the freshman quarterbacks we've been associated with.
McGuire has made his presence felt immediately, rising from the basement of the depth chart up to where he's competing for the backup quarterback spot.
I came in here, thinking to myself that I can't get the number 2 job if I work hard, because I know how I have the ability to play. So I came in here and worked really hard and sat down and studied the offensive book, and it's here.
You feel comfortable with the offense? Are you getting to that point?
Oh, I sure do. I know all the terminology and everything that goes with it. The defensive looks and everything. I feel really comfortable.
With McGuire's amazing progress, Hayden and his staff decided on Tuesday that the freshman quarterback definitely would play this season and not be redshirted. Are you glad not to be facing a redshirt year?
Yes, I am, because I know I have the ability to play. It's just a matter of time to where I can be the top of my game. So I just need playing time.
How would Dan McGuire describe himself?
A pure drop back passer, likes to go deep, can throw any type of route. Not the best scrambler in the world, not a Fran Tarkington, but can move. Is pretty quick for how big he is. Will surprise some people if I get some playing time.
McGuire won't be the only Hawkeye freshman to see action this fall. Dan's teammate at Claremont High in California, wide receiver Travis Watkins, and linebacker Brad Quast out of Des Plaines, Illinois, also will be put to the test in their first season with the Hawkeyes.
We have definitely made up our mind to go ahead and get those young men experience this year, and they've shown enough ability in practice that if we do what I call spoon feed them, bring them along slowly, don't give them the whole load of hay at one time, but they could make a contribution during the season. While the freshmen that will play this year have tremendous ability, they also must be coached and handled in just the right manner. And it's that aspect that has the head Hawk excited about what's in store for the '86 season. I'll tell you, Pete, there's no substitute for experience, and particularly the kind of guys that graduated. We are the defending Big Ten champs, and it would be wonderful to have Chuck and all those guys back each year. I've got to be honest about it. On the other hand, I'm greatly excited because it's a challenge to take the young guys and mold them into winners, and I've got a tremendous coaching staff, and I think our coaching staff will do just that.
Early on, will it be the case of the offense maybe bringing the defense along, or the other way around?
I think it's kind of a toss-up. We lost about the same number of players on both sides of the ball. We have some returning key players, studs as I call them, on both sides of the ball, and we got to fill in with some inexperienced people. But I think our leadership will be so good that you're not going to see a whole lot of drop-off.
Is there one side of the ball that concerns you more than the other?
Well, obviously, our axiom is here, if the other team can't score, you can't come out with worse than a tie. So we've always tried to emphasize defense early and let the offense, which is a little bit more intricate, requires a little more timing, to come along gradually.
What's your gut feeling for this '86 team?
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very questionable early in the year. Keeping people healthy, making big plays is going to be imperative. If we do that, by mid-season, we could have a very fine team.
Up next, predictions from those who know Iowa best, and a look at the Hawks' opponents, starting with the Cyclones of Iowa State. After 4 weeks of beating on each other in practice, game day is just around the corner for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Up first is intra-state rival Iowa State, whom the Hawks have crushed the past 3 years. But Randy Giles says tomorrow's showdown may not come as easy this time around.
We've got to make it a rivalry first. That means being competitive on the field.
They have 18 starters returning on their football team. That concerns us greatly because they're so experienced.
Unless you've been living in a cave recently, you know the Iowa Hawkeyes opened their 1986 season against traditional rival Iowa State. The past 3 years have been Hawkeye heaven. They've won 3 straight by big margins, but this year it could be a different story for the young Hawks, especially offensively.
They're the closest thing that we'll play to what the Chicago Bear defense played last year. We have a brand new quarterback, and we've got brand new wide receivers. We got a new running back. It's kind of like an accelerated course in a tough academic course to get everyone prepared for all of this in the opening game.
We'll show Iowa that you're going to have to earn every point, and it's going to be pretty hard to get 57 points.
The Hawkeye defense also has a new worry this year. The Cyclones have a running game, and that makes them all the more dangerous.
We've got to establish a balanced approach, and the better job that we can do that with a good running game, then the more effectively Alex and our receivers will be in throwing the football.
Sure, the Cyclones are improved, but they know come Saturday they're going to be in the danger zone.
There's not a weakness that you can really find in what they're doing offensively, defensively, or in their personnel. You better respect them or they'll blow you right off the field.
I know we got a fight ahead of us, and we're ready to strap it on and play ball.
The Iowa State clash tomorrow is just one of 7 home games for the Hawks this fall. You have to go way back to 1977 to find the last time Iowa played 7 times in one season at Kinnick Stadium. Because the Hawks play so well in front of their own fans, the schedule definitely gives Iowa an advantage in '86. Following the Cyclones, Iowa hosts Northern Illinois. The Huskies shouldn't be a problem. They've already dropped their first 2 games to Ball State and West Virginia. Game 3 features the first ever meeting between Iowa and Texas El Paso. The Miners have had their troubles in recent years, but are 1-1 thus far in '86. Next up, it's the Big Ten opener on October 4th and has Hayden and his boys on the road for the first time to tangle with Michigan State. East Lansing is always a tough place to play for the Hawks, and this year will be no exception. Iowa bounces back home for Game 5 to wrestle with the Wisconsin Badgers, who many feel could be the surprise team in the Big Ten this year. Then mark October 18th on your calendar. That's when Iowa and Michigan collide, this time in Ann Arbor, where the Wolverines will be waiting, looking to avenge losses in each of the past 2 seasons to the Hawks. After Michigan, Iowa begins a 2-week homestand, starting with the Northwestern Wildcats on October 25th, followed by Earl Bruce's Buckeyes of Ohio State to open up the November stretch. The final 3 games have the Hawks at Illinois, then back in Iowa City with Purdue for the last home game before wrapping up the regular season with Minnesota and the struggle for Floyd of Rosedale. So what kind of season will it be for this Iowa football team? To get a handle on it, I asked 3 veteran Iowa radio play-by-play announcers to give us their predictions.
Oh, I'm the eternal optimist, Pete. I think the Hawkeyes will do very well. I think they've had good people replacing good people, maybe some exceptional people eventually replacing some exceptional people. So I think Iowa's going to be a very difficult team to beat. I think they're going to be the surprise team in the Big Ten. And why not go out on a limb and predict an 8-1 season?
Well, this football program is on such solid ground that I think another successful season is in the offing. I picked the Hawks at 11-2 on the year, and I pick them to go to the Fiesta Bowl. So, can't get better than that, can you?
Not at all.
Coming off a victory.
What about quarterback? How do you see that?
Well, Mark Vlasic is the man. Hayden owes Mark quite a little bit because he stayed around and weathered and stayed through the long years. Chuck Long, that is, and Vlasic, I think, will be the guy.
Well, I guess I think there'll be a contender, Pete, all the way, and I think that there'll be a good football team by the time November rolls around because they have a lot of spots where there are young players. My pick would be 8 wins and 3 losses, I guess, for the season, and they've been picked 4th in the Big Ten by the writers and casters around the Midwest, and I think that sounds fair. I think that's the right spot.
How about my prediction? Well, I think the Hawkeyes will go 8-3. They'll have their problems in Michigan and at Illinois. The offense will be potent as always, and I look for Dan McGuire to get plenty of playing time this season as Hayden and his staff groom the California Redwood for the next 3 years down the road. Well, that's it for tonight. We hope you've enjoyed our show, The Hawks Take Aim. So long, everyone.